Welcome to Thursday, May 11th, 2023, with the icon, Mike Smith. I'm the nobody, Dan Ramey. Good to have you here today.
Hello.
It is another beautiful day on tap for us.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it, and a lot of folks will be out and about doing stuff, maybe out at the playgrounds, having lunch outside. I know that the tourism folks in Columbus got together yesterday. We've got a story coming up about that to share with everyone. There's something new but familiar from our friends at the tourism department here in Ohio. So that's all just ahead. But first, we mentioned the weather. Let's jump right to it.
Yeah. Enjoy today. Cloudy skies mixed with some sunshine all the way up to near 80 for a high today. And then the rain moves in tomorrow and Saturday, dry on Sunday. So we're trying to grow a little bit of grass under our trees at home. And there's a certain kind of shade seed that you can get. So we've been getting a lot of rain here to start, but you still got to keep watering. You know, in fact, it says twice a day. So
I looked at my grass when I got home yesterday, which I cut last Saturday, and it was fine. Mm-hmm. You know, usually it doesn't look like it needs to be cut again until about Saturday. So 7 days later. I looked at it yesterday, and then I remembered we've had about 2 inches of rain since I cut last, and it was like, hey, we could be we need a trim here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have time yet. I don't know when I'm going to get to do it. Right. So it'll happen one of these days soon. So enough of our woes and worries. We've got some things to share with you coming up with news. We'll also take a look at sports. We've got postseason action underway for all of the high school events, right? Well, except for baseball, which will begin
Start Saturday. Yeah.
So all that and a whole lot more. Plus, this date in history, sports related?
Today, no.
Tomorrow's is.
Tomorrow's is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike gave me a teaser earlier this morning while I was doing things on the computer, and I was thinking that was today. So, all right, so we're looking at it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. But today is, give us an appetizer.
Well, it's made of rubber.
Which is also kind of sports related.
It can be, yeah.
We'll learn more at the end of this program, so stick with us. All right, but first, let's tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. No rubber involved here. They are just your trusted comfort advisor. If you have some issues with your heating or your cooling or your plumbing, you need to get that taken care of, and they can do it for you. Click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com for Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. On the way, a look at news next.
This is Big Chillicothe. Horizon's 100% fiber internet service is coming to your area. Call 740-772-8331 or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe to sign up today.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
Stories making news today on our website, littermedia.com. What do you have for us, Mike?
Well, big thanks to Teresa Reap of the Nathaniel Massey chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. We had told you about this prior to the event, right after it happened, but we weren't able to cover the event, and Teresa was good enough to get us some pictures for a story that we put up yesterday concerning their effort to decorate the grave of Nathaniel Willis. He was a participant in the Boston Tea Party, but after that, come to settle here in Ohio, and lo and behold, in Bainbridge. And that's where he was laid to rest, in the Bainbridge Cemetery. The original tombstone of Willis was discovered abandoned and moved to the Bainbridge Cemetery before that ceremony. Evan O'Brien and Kristen Harris of the museum and Jonathan Lane of Revolution 250th Massachusetts Historical Society, along with Phyllis Wheatley, portrayed by Catherine Phillips of the museum, worked the grave with the museum marker.
I'd like to know a little bit more about Nathaniel Willis. I mean, was he the kind of guy that when he came here, it's like, listen, I was in the Boston Tea Party. If you try and pull something on me again, I'll show you.
Well, depending on whether the revolution was over or not, he probably didn't want to be known that he was hanging out
And that could
in
be
this
too.
part of the woods. Yeah.
So maybe he was here for, what do they call that, witness protection?
Yeah. Or maybe he came to the dentist office at the dental museum, which is now the dental museum, and this never left.
Maybe he was looking to go with Lewis and Clark and had a toothache and had to stick around here.
Very well. You just never know what leads people to hang out. But we want to thank, again, the DAR for getting this information to us.
Fine group of ladies.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Ohio University Lancaster's Law Enforcement Technology Program, the Lancaster Police Department, and the Lancaster Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association will host the annual Kids and Cops Day Saturday, May the 20th from 10 to 2. Kids and Cops 2023 is a free event and will be held in the north parking lot of the Ohio University Lancaster campus. Ohio will resume use of the popular Ohio, the heart of it all tagline to promote Ohio not only as a great place to visit, but also as a great place to live, learn, work, and raise a family. Ohio, the heart of it all tagline was the state's tourism slogan between 1984 and 2001. And as I was telling Dan, I thought it was more recent because I can remember this all the time being used on TV and radio commercials, but
Well, then they came
been a
up.
while.
They were preparing after 2001 for the state's bicentennial, so they took a change there in the branding and everything. But there's the new logo. This is the group of folks that are all at the State House lawn yesterday, and of course everything's showing up. Thank you to the folks of the Ohio Tourism to let us have this. This is one of my favorites right here. I don't know that that's Gene Betts and the astronaut, but they were there.
Oh, there
What
they
can I say?
are.
There's
How
Melody
about
Young
that?
and Gene Betts. Grabbed this from Melody's Facebook page. I'm sure she didn't mind. But this is an opportunity for all of the Convention and Visitors Bureaus. They all got together there on the State House lawn to prepare for the release of the heart of it all.
Yeah. And it's a great slogan because, you know, where we're located in the continental United States, we're kind of right there in the middle.
Yeah.
I think back in the early 70s, they were saying that more than 80% of the U.S. population lived within like 500 miles of Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, think of that. That really is the heart of it all.
Now, if you go to the story on the website, you will see there at littermedia.com, there's a black box there. Well, that's the 30-second promotional announcement that they have. And the reason they're calling it back to the heart of it all, and you'll see in the video there, a heart beating and the whole deal. And it's the heart of technology, because of how they're starting to, and this is a brand not just for tourism, but also for the economic sector. They're trying to combine the two in this message. So if you want to see that message, is available now on our website. Just look for the logo that we showed you just a moment ago, and it'll take you right to the story.
And that, of course, is littermedia.com. The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the Fayette County Suicide Prevention Coalition is giving away yard signs to promote the National Crisis and Suicide Lifeline, which is 988.
Is this the sign?
Well, that's just one of the suicide prevention logos that they use. But 988 signs will be available this Saturday at the Fayette County Public Health table at the Farmers Market and the Community Action Program Fair at Community Action. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please call the National Crisis and Suicide Lifeline at 988 or text the number 4-HOPE to 741741.
I think that's 741. That's what they usually say.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just reading it like it was printed out to me. Fentanyl, made to look like colorful candy, is now appearing in Ohio. This originally came out from the Ohio Attorney General, actually early yesterday. Chillicothe Police Department and area law enforcement also getting the word out. Parents, kids, if you see this, please stay clear of it. We want you to remain safe and healthy.
It looks like
this
Sweet
can-
Tarts.
Yeah, this can kill you. I mean, just flat out, it can kill you. So stay away from this stuff. Road report in Pike County. Work to resurface sections of State Route 104, 220, and State Route 551 now taking place from 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday. Traffic is being maintained in one lane with flaggers, and that's 104 between State Route 32 and the village of Waverly, 220 between 772 and Waverly, 551 between State Route 104 and 220, and this work continues through the summer.
You might recall last week had a sit down with the kids that will be a part of the Addams family. Yes, indeed. They are kind of creepy and really kind of kooky. They will find themselves performing. They've got dress rehearsal tonight, and then they'll have a show Friday, Saturday, both at 7 o'clock, and Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. at the CHS Auditorium there on Yaktangi Boulevard. Again, you get tickets online. Just go to visit our interview with the kids on our YouTube channel to get all the details there. Don't forget also this weekend, the military tour, the Chillicothe Trolley, will be making its stop this Saturday, next Saturday, and the following Saturday, all leading right up to Memorial Day. If you want to find out more details, you'll find that on the Chillicothe Facebook page, the City of Chillicothe. Up in Circleville, it's Shred It Day tomorrow. And that'll be, Saturday from 8 a.m. until noon. Also, the Zach Farmer Poker Run is coming up this Saturday down in Piketon.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And that's, of course, where Zach went to school, great baseball, basketball, and football player. Passed away a number of years back due to cancer.
I forgot that he played football.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And his brother was a pretty good football player, too.
And next week is National Police Week. And as you mentioned to us last week, the folks up in Circleville, the Pickaway County Sheriff's Department, have this promotion going on.
Actually, in the nation's capital this morning, there's a monument there for fallen police officers, and they were laying wreaths. The Speaker of the House was there. I think Attorney General Garland was going to come and lay a wreath there. I'm certain that Larry Cox's name is among those that are on that monument there. Yeah.
Well, in fact, last year, it was 2 years ago, Emily Preston, who is the daughter of
Mike and Julie.
Thank you.
Who I just saw the other night.
My brain wasn't working there. But Mike and Julie's daughter, Emily, was a student in Washington, D.C. I think she went to George Washington University, if I'm not mistaken. And she sent us some photos from Washington, and one of the photos was at the National Monument and had Larry Cox's name on there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful monument. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, coming up, we'll look at sports. We've got tennis that's actually being played right now, even as we speak. And we've got an update on the Unio Shermans there that we'll share with you in just a moment. Plus, you had an opportunity to go to Hatton Memorial Gymnasium.
A historical night in the OHSAA. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Did you stop by the little boys' room and touch?
No, I've seen it before. He's talking about the plaque. I've seen it before, yeah.
Oh, golly. Coming up in just a moment, also this date in history we'll share with you as well. Our friends at Scioto Valley Dumpsters help put this program on, which sometimes they probably think it should go to the dumpster. But Scioto Valley Dumpsters, if you've got a cleanup job that's big and you need a dumpster, you need Scioto Valley Dumpsters. 740-253-8389.
Hi, I'm Dave Pinkerton with Advanced Services Heating and Cooling, your local heating and cooling expert. If you want quality service, quality installation, give Advanced Services a call, 740-773-4499.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. And the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other. But some are just a six-pack away. The people who share the same spirit, share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
Turn on the microphone so
Steve
people
Lewis
can hear me
will
say this.
be texting you.
So
if
say,
you
hey, I
don't do
can't
it."
hear you. Wait, what? Probably can't hear me because of all the seagulls on the boat.
Oh,
These,
that could
on-
be too.
in somewhere. It is sports time. Let's begin with a look at volleyball. Was it?
Yeah. First time ever, the OHSAA sanctioning boys high school volleyball. Well, we told you about that earlier in the year, but last night was the actual history maker because the tournaments actually got underway. And Chillicothe, who's had boys volleyball as a club sport for several years, the wait finally paid off for them. They won their opening match last night, sweeping Patriot Prep, that's out of Columbus, 25-5, 7, and 7. And after the match, we caught up with probably the star of the game, Mercer Cutright, and Coach Andrew Vitito.
And that's Mercer there, by the way, number
Yes.
18, putting it down.
For us, this is our 7th year with the team, 6-year competition because we did lose that COVID spring. But very cool that it's now an official sport. The main thing that we're seeing with that is growth. We're seeing other teams show up, and that's great for us because our first 6 years, we'd go every place was at least an hour away. And so Westfall joining a few years ago. This year, Unioto starting a club team. I hope they'll be official next year. RCCA had a very successful year with their guys. A lot of young guys at RCCA, and so it's growing in the county.
What's it like to be a part of something that's never been done before, and that's boys volleyball as an OHSAA sport?
It's really fun, honestly. I mean, it's the guys are what make it fun, and the coaching. It's just very low, it's not low intensity, but it's very low expectation-wise.
Now, you're just a sophomore, but how many years have you been playing volleyball?
I've been playing volleyball for 4 years now.
Okay. So was it like club ball or what before?
Yeah, it was club volleyball, and that was mostly it.
So with the victory, Chillicothe in Division II, Region 5 advanced to take on St. Charles up in Columbus this Saturday at 6 p.m. Andrew told me last night that match would have been equivalent to a regional quarterfinal. So if that's the case, then it's just the next step on Saturday. They played St. Charles earlier this year and lost, but Coach Vitito said they were missing some guys that night. So hopefully a better go-round. And if they win, and if Westfall would beat Bishop Watterson Saturday, Westfall and Chillicothe would meet each other in the regional championship.
And I think Chillicothe owns the series so far from
Yes.
this regular season.
This year.
So
Congratulations on that historical night last night. Unioto boys tennis doubles of Lucas Haynes and Mason Thornsberry won their sectional championship for a second straight year. Now they're playing today for seeding positions in the district, with the district play at Ohio University coming up on May the 17th.
And they won their first match earlier today against Portsmouth West, so they have advanced into pool play. They have an opportunity to be number 1 right now. The number 1 seed, I haven't heard how they have done yet, but we're talking about the Waverly duo, and they also have a shot at being that number 1 as well. So as we show you this, there's going to be an update before the rest of the day is done, and we'll know how they will be seated come next Wednesday over at Ohio University.
Good luck to all of the local teams out there. Softball tournament action continued last night. Division I winners, Lancaster. The Lady Gales pounding Westland last night, but Logan saw their season end. Division II sectional championship winners in the Southeast District, as you see, Unioto, Jackson, Hillsboro, Athens, Logan Elm, Circleville, Sheridan, and Fairland. Division III in the Central District, winners were Liberty Union and Amanda Clear Creek. And Division IV sectional champions, Sims Valley, Notre Dame, Waterford, Eastern Meg, Southern Manchester, Miller, and Valley. Track and field. Finals tonight for both the FAC, which is in Hillsboro, and the SOC track and field. As you see there, FAC is being run at Hillsboro at the new high school campus. And we hope to have results of both of those conference finals on LitterMedia.com later tonight. Baseball. We told you about this earlier in the week. Well, today's the day. As we speak to you live, they should be throwing the first pitch right now. Play ball. Noontime, Denison, which is the number 1 seed, taking on Wabash out at Chillicothe VA Memorial Stadium.
They better hope that if they need a Game 7, that Game 6 didn't go into extra innings, like 18 innings or something like that, because that bottom line there says games on Sunday must be completed by 6 p.m. per NCAA policies.
Now, let me look just quickly, because tomorrow's action, as far as the weather that I'm seeing, it's cloudy but no rain through at least noon tomorrow. But there is a forecast of rain sometime, I think, tomorrow afternoon or evening. So with the all-weather surface.
Yeah, as long as there's no lightning involved.
They'll probably try to slug it out and get it in.
To push on.
Now on the big league circuit, both of the Ohio teams losing last night. Hunter Green still looking for his first win. I guess it's tough after you're getting $53 million an extension. You can't win. 2-1 loss.
He needs to give some of that money to the offensive players to be able to score some runs for him.
And the Tigers wrapped up their series with Cleveland last night with a 5-0 win over Cleveland. Now the Reds and Mets, is that an afternoon game today?
Yeah, they should be starting here in just a bit. But in the defense of the Reds offense, they were facing Justin Verlander. And the Reds got a run in the first inning, but then they couldn't get anybody on base after that the rest of the game.
So you sent me an email yesterday. Can you give us the Reader's Digest version of what you learned about Joey Votto and his rehab assignment?
Actually, I sent you the story, but I didn't really pay attention to the in-depth because I thought you would read it.
I did the same thing. I gather that he's not ready to come back.
That's my understanding, yes.
And there's been some speculation that he just may hang it up.
From what I can remember, and this was from, Mark Sheldon, the reporter that used to, when the Reds Radio Network used to have the reporters come in and sit down and talk with Marty and Joe. Well, I guess it was Marty and whoever.
Yeah, Cowboy.
After Joe. But, excuse me. From what I understand, his rehab continues. However, he is there as a moral support kind of guy right now. They decided to pull him back from his rehab assignment at Louisville because he just couldn't field properly. He couldn't move to where he needed to, and he says, they don't need me on the field if I can't have my full range of capabilities with that shoulder. And I think he was, despite the fact that he had a home run in his first at-bat in this assignment down in Louisville, I think he was only like 7 for 38.
Oh, wow.
So, that means that shoulder is not letting him hit.
39 years of age is young for you and I, but in big league baseball, you're nearing the end of your career.
Yeah. So. Unless you're Ty Cobb. And he played till what? 46?
Well,
something like
Satchel Paige was the one. I don't think they ever knew how old Satchel was. Some think that he might have been close to 60 before he hung it up.
It's possible. A couple other sports notes for you. The NFL will be releasing their schedules tonight. They make a big TV thing on NFL Network and ESPN, I believe. But they'll have a release of all the schedules. You know who they play. It's just when they will play is the big thing now. And also, we want to remember Keith Prohl. Keith was instrumental in the Cavalier bowling program. He was an avid supporter, but he also was an avid bowler. 1969 graduate of CHS, and he rode several 300 ball games. Wow. And I believe one of the first to have a 300 as a Cavalier bowler was under his tutelage as coach. He, along with Pat Hyland, got things up and running. And then when Pat stepped away, Keith became the guy, and Ron Nelson was all involved in that too. And today it's Mike Leemaster, or not Mike, but Chad Leemaster is the head coach for boys and girls. So our thoughts are with the Prohl family because he was through and through blue and white, unless it was Saturday, and then it was scarlet and gray.
Scarlet and gray.
Absolutely. So remembering you, Keith Prohl. All right, coming up, look at this date in history. It's
Burning rubber in 1947.
It's a bounce back day, I guess, for this particular industry. All right. McDonald's stopped in for breakfast this morning at McDonald's, and that's the only way to start my day now, is to start my day with McDonald's.
How about that?
Then I'm not hungry until later in the evening. It's amazing.
You must eat a lot while you're there in the morning.
I had the steak bagels today.
Oh, goodness.
Once again, skip the onions. I'm not an onion fan, so we skipped the onions on that. But I also had a strawberry and cream pie.
But they make it like you want it. I love that about it.
It is still available, so make sure that if you've not received one, it's on the menu. Get it now, limited time only, speaking of the pie. But if you're looking for work, they're looking for you too. So if you want to find out more, click on any McDonald's ad you see at littermedia.com, and that will take you right to their McHire website to learn more to become a member of the McDonald's crew. McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
This date in history on the way next.
Big yards, small yards, hilly yards, silly yards. Every yard is unique, and every yard, no matter how much you love it, can be uniquely frustrating to mow. That's why Country Clipper is designed to tackle any obstacle imaginable. It's the perfect mower for even the most imperfect yard. Country Clipper, engineered for easy.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
At Rathkamp Financial, we provide wealth management services that may ease clients' fears of financial loss and help them retire comfortably. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
Time to fire up the Litter Media Wayback Machine, go into the annals of time with Mr. History, Mike Smith.
When we get in our automobiles, you know that you're riding on something that has tires on it. And we just take it for granted. So on the surface, when you hear that in 1947, that B.F. Goodrich Company of Akron, Ohio, announces that it's developed a tubeless tire.
What?
Which was a technological innovation that would make automobiles safer and more efficient. Now, if you've never ridden on anything that wasn't tubeless, you don't know how rough auto traffic or truck traffic was back before 1947. But this was the culmination of more than 3 years of engineering. Goodrich's tubeless tire effectively eliminated the inner tube, trapping the pressurized air within the tire walls themselves.
I got to think in 1947 that there was some people looking at the kids and saying, listen, covered wagon wheels were a lot rougher than what you're riding now.
Exactly, yeah. So we progressed on this date in our travel thanks to the tire in 1947.
I didn't pay attention to this until yesterday. I'm still discovering things about the new vehicle. And up on the windshield, I was putting the sun visor back up, and I discovered there's this decal on the window up there that talks about my tires being filled with nitrogen.
Huh, yeah.
Which I know a lot of the tire companies are putting nitrogen inflation in there as opposed to just air.
I guess it's supposed to stay in the tire longer than just the regular air.
Yeah.
That's what they claim anyway.
What if they would put helium in there? Would that lighten the load on the car so that you could get better gas mileage?
I'm thinking of, what was the Fred McMurray and the Disney movie? Was that Flubber? Or
Son of Flubber, yeah.
The floating car, yeah. So, yeah. When this story, of course, being about Akron, Ohio, where the tire industry really took off, not only with Goodrich, but Goodyear. I was thinking of the year that Piketon's girls softball team made it to the Final Four, and of course they played at Firestone Stadium. So
he's mentioned 3 brands: Goodrich, Goodyear,
and Firestone. Right?
Yes.
Here, Vanessa George, although she was not married at the time,
so she would have been
Vanessa Doyle.
Doyle, yeah.
She, I, and my wife, she was the chaperone. We're driving to Akron, 71, and the traffic comes to a complete stop somewhere. I don't know how. We were probably, driving-wise, another half hour out of Akron. Mm-hmm. And we sat there forever. And I happened to have Bud Brabson, who was the coach at Piketon at that time's cell phone, and I called him because with tournament games, especially the games played outdoors with weather as it is and so forth, you don't know, are you running on time? Are you running behind? And I said, Bud, we're stuck out in your 71. We're a half hour away. I don't know when we're going to get. How far are they away from the start of your game? He says, well, we're taking batting practice on another field right now. He said, I'm guessing that we're probably 45 minutes to an hour away. We did get there in time, and then the storm cloud comes up like it's going to rain, and I think it did rain a little bit, but the game didn't get held up.
So Bub probably said a prayer.
He probably did.
Lord, do what we can to help Mike and the crew get here.
Yeah, but we did make it up there, and
broadcast on time.
We actually stayed all night. Stayed in a hotel.
That's why
Laura
wife was there as a chaperone.
Now, we had one of those kind of deals where you've got like this living space between the rooms.
Right.
So Laura and I were on one side, and Vanessa was by herself. I think she and Jam, her current husband, were dating at the time because I think she was on the phone all night talking to him. But we stayed up there because had Piketon won, which they unfortunately did not, they'd have played the very next day. So there wasn't much sense coming all the way back.
Yeah.
But I remember you telling a story about you getting caught was it I-70 or outside of Dublin?
It was I-270.
270.
This was a bad decision on my part, but in the same respect, it was just a bad night overall. This is when Chillicothe was first playing in this is the second time they were in the football playoffs. First time they played at Cooper Stadium. Second time was at Dublin Kaufman High School, which back then was just Dublin High School. And at that time, they built this new football facility back behind the campus. Originally, the football field was right there along I-270. On the this would be on the north side of the what would be westbound lanes of I-270. And that day, Ohio State was playing a game, and we got a late start. We was myself, Dwight Garrett, and also our stat guy, Steve Swan. Swanee. You talk about a trip.
Oh, boy.
He made every trip interesting. So we drove up 315. And I thought, the Ohio State game is done. We should be okay. And we motored past Ohio State without any issue. And I had gone up the day before to stretch phone line because we had to use the coach's office phone, and there are 44 steps to the press box. This is how I knew this, because I went up there, started with the line, walked all the way down, went back up to check it, went back down, went back up again, checked it. So I got familiar with the steps. So that was the day before. So now I've already done that prep work. All we have to do is show up, right? We get up there onto I-270, and traffic was stopped, not going anywhere. We inched. It kept getting darker and darker and darker, getting close to kickoff time. And so I said, okay, guys, here's the deal. I'm going to drive around this traffic. And I did. I got on the berm. I did what no one should do. Drove up the ramp and then turned around and came back down to the other side because the traffic on the eastbound wasn't so bad. So what the problem was, there was some type of wrestling event going on at Dublin Kaufman High School. in addition to they had a concert being performed by a professional flautist, however you want to say it, and a football game, playoff football game, all going on the same night. So hence the traffic jam, let alone if you've ever driven on the north side of Columbus, it's just bad.
Yeah.
So I now bring the van down on the east side of 270. I grabbed the broadcast bags, and I said, Dwight, drive us to where we need to go. I will meet you there. I crossed those eastbound lanes of I-270, went through the median strip, walked through all the cars, and everybody's like, hey, what are you doing? Homeless guy carrying his suitcases. What's going on?
Or he robbed someplace and he's carrying the loot.
Yeah. So then I didn't think this through. There is a fence I have to cross on the other side because the interstate always has that fence there that I didn't think about because it was getting dark. And then there was a little creek right there. I had to cross that. And then there was another fence that I had to get over, and then walked the length of the old football field at Dublin High School. Then I decided, you know what? Fortunately, something's going on here at the school. I'm going to walk through the school. So I walked into the school. No one stopped me. I walked all the way through because everything was going on. I got to the other side, saved myself some steps. I'm blowing wind big time by the time I got to where I needed to do. And then I had to climb those 44 steps. Really? Crowd is everywhere. Everybody's ready for this game. I got all the way up to the press box and started setting everything up. And I'm thinking, this is great. The phone line's already plugged in. All I got to do is just plug my phone in to the machine, and we're ready to go. And still there was no Dwight or Steve. They had yet to arrive. So I plug in. I go to make my call back to the radio station. Dead. No dial tone. So I'm like, okay. So I went back down the steps again, went to the coach's office. In that coach's office, this was Chillicothe's locker room. Coach Bill Davidson was an assistant coach at the time. He was sitting next to the telephone. The Cavaliers are getting ready. They're hearing their pregame talk from Coach John Saenz. And I'm like, this is unplugged. And Bill looks at me and he says, Dan, I'm sorry. The phone kept ringing. And John Saenz told me I had to
unplug it.
So I unplugged it. The reason it was ringing was because we were behind and Chip Arledge was running the show back here in Chillicothe. He was calling us. And I said, okay, do me a favor. And I think I told Bill, I said, I'm going to plug this in. If it rings, tell Chip to hang on. I'll call him back. So by the time we got on the air, it was almost kickoff time. I mean, whatever pregame we had planned, scratched. And I am doing the first quarter by myself. And about probably 4 minutes into the broadcast, here comes Steve and Dwight walking up through. And then they gave me they found a parking space, but they had to walk forever to get to where we were. And then they told me the van's almost on empty.
Oh, golly. You did make it back, obviously, though.
Well, the next worry after the game was we got to find a gas station. So, and not everything was open 24/7 like it is today back then.
The things that the listener or the viewer has no clue goes on behind the scenes just to get something on the air. A lot of stories like that.
It's a really long story, but it's got to be told that way for you to understand what all we were going through.
That's why, to this day, if I have a recurring nightmare, it's always I dream that I'm running late to get to a game to broadcast, and then I always wake up when it's time to start the broadcast. I guess when that gets stuck in your head over those many times.
Now, keep in mind, this was 5 years into my broadcast career, so I was still a young kid, not really the responsible kind of guy. But after that, I started making sure, hey, we got to leave. I don't care what time it is. We're going to get there. And that's always been the concern.
Get there early in case things go bad.
The good old days of broadcasting. anything else that we have to share? You're not here tomorrow.
Actually, you and I won't see each other on this program until next Wednesday.
That's right.
Not
that we're taking time off.
No,
we're going to be doing things.
I'll be on assignment in Circleville for an event tomorrow at Ohio Christian. Then Monday, Ohio High School Athletic Association has a media committee meeting. Been on that group for a number of years. And then Tuesday, you've got an assignment.
Yes. So I'll be here tomorrow with the program and then heading out to Hirsch Fruit Farm, where Huntington FFA is putting on a presentation that I've been asked to cover, so we'll stop over for that. Tomorrow is when Rick Bethel will be having a dedication. The track at the Huntington Athletic Complex will be named after Rick Bethel. Of course, the football field is already Earl Knight Field, and the complex itself is Merle Shoemaker Complex. But this is an opportunity for I've got Bud Light on my mind because I'm thinking they've not named the press box.
Maybe Bud.
It's got to be. It's got to be Bud Light on.
But eventually, that'll be during the SVC finals tomorrow night at Huntington.
Yes. So if you see me out there with a camera, say hi and say, "Why does this guy talk so long?"
Oh well.
But
you'll have to put up with him tomorrow and Monday.
It'll be a much shorter presentation tomorrow, I'm sure. So, all right, that's it for the
but that's all, folks.
For the program today. We will be back again tomorrow with another edition of Litter Media Live. Until then, enjoy this beautiful weather and cut Mike's grass, would you?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to.